All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Bryant, Amber, and Steve. And today we're going to be watching the final two episodes of Infinity Train. And this is what you guys did on your predictions. Now, being the geniuses that we are, we figured out the sound issue we were having in all the previous episodes. only now thought to look up and fix. All right. So you guys should be able to hear everything today. So this will be episode 9. I forget the name of it, but we'll find out in a second. Share sound is clicked. Good. All right. This is episode 9 of Fast Car.
Look, Miss Tulip, I found your shoes, and now I'm a shoehead. Who's a shoehead? Shoehead! That's who!
Thanks.
I told you Boot Body would be funnier.
Wait! Are we leaving Atticus behind?
He's not Atticus anymore.
Your number's going up. You're losing progress, Miss Tulip.
What progress? Atticus is gone and my number's not gonna change that. Nothing will ever change.
I'm stuck on this train forever.
Fatalism doesn't suit you, kitten. After all, you're my favorite person, arbitrarily named after a particular kind of flower. There's still time to cure the dog.
Don't you dare lie to me again!
No lies. He can be turned back, and the solution is in this tape.
Last time I saw one of these, I almost got trapped in my own memories forever.
That's because it was your own tape. This one belongs to another. And while it's admittedly a little voyeuristic, it's not dangerous.
Oh, sure. You only lied to me twice now. Why not go for a third?
Yeah, fool her thrice. Shame on me.
Our goals aren't wholly dissimilar. The conductor tried to kill me.
Fine. But you're watching it first.
So, what exactly are we looking for here?
We'll know it when we see it.
Fine. But if you hated the conductor so much, why'd you help him?
Je suis désolé. I thought if I found you, I'd be left alone.
That's funny. That didn't work at all.
No, it didn't.
Excellent work, Ulrich. Perhaps you should spend less time with your toys, Amelia.
It's not a toy, it's a crystal radio.
Engineering, derived from the Latin words ingeniare, to contrive.
This memory better not be another waste of time.
I can't do this. There are too many people.
You want to make a run for it? Bonk off before they hand us diplomas.
Amelia.
The conductor?
Mm-hmm.
It is I, your normal boyfriend. I am a human. This is how I sound now. I do hope that it's acceptable.
Oh, very acceptable, but you're obviously a robot. And me, I'm just a simple human. But perhaps we can bridge the gap between our two civilizations. So, what do you think?
Hey, come on, please, open up. Look, I know it's hard, but it'll be good to go. We're all here for you.
Where's Amelia?
Gone forever?
Well, the service is starting now.
Amelia?
Amelia, she's stuck here like me.
Once upon a train, there was a different conductor until Amelia arrived and ousted them for her own purposes.
Seeing her tape just made things harder. It was easier when I thought the conductor was some heartless robot thing. She turned Atticus into a monster. I don't want to feel bad for her. But now I know she's a person named Amelia, who was in love, and she's hurt. And she's running away from the changes in her life. Because she's afraid. Like me.
Home. Hooray! Now you'll be gone forever!
To be clear, that's a good thing.
No. I can't leave while Atticus is still a monster.
But what about your door?
I'll just have to take it with me. If the conductor is just a person, and the train is just a machine, then what's stopping me from doing what she did?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I'm kind of wondering, why is the conductor and not just someone on the train?
You might have to wait just another episode.
What do you mean?
But she was just somebody on the
Because,
train.
Yeah, she got on the train because of her sadness and took the train over and resurrect. I don't think she's the conductor. I actually think she might be the cat. And the conductor is his thoughts, the guy that passed away.
You're gonna have to watch the next episode. All answers will be revealed. But I thought this one was really
reaction video.
Yeah.
That was the worst reaction ever.
This doesn't feel like a reaction video.
It's not a reaction video. It's a discussion video.
Oh.
Well,
Reactions is part of the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But I was gonna. Sorry, no. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. No, I was gonna say because Steve had said something like early on, like one of the first episodes. I think it was Steve that really came into play here when her number actually finally got down to 0.
yeah, and the other kid, she saw that other kid getting
Yeah, through that
taken off
tunnel.
But
And that was the tunnel.
what sparked her getting to 0?
her realizing that she was the same
She's
as the
scared
conductor.
and she's trying to run away.
She empathized with the conductor despite terrible things the conductor had done. She kind of had empathy. Now, and this is something I think it was Steve that said that at the very beginning, she was arguing with her parents about how her life was getting ruined because of the divorce. It was very self-focused. She was thinking about, well, you guys are screwing up my life because you guys can't get along, but she wasn't thinking about how it was affecting them. And she kind of, I think, slowly learned a little throughout the show, but I think this is really where it dug in.
The big moment.
You really kind of have to try to see where other people are coming from too, right? And how it's affecting them. So that's what I think.
Right, so she flipped out of selfishness.
Yeah, sure. She completely abandoned her selfishness at that point and was able to empathize somebody who had done some terrible things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of murdered Atticus.
Yeah.
In a way. Or mutated him into something horrible.
Yeah.
Which is almost worse.
Yeah.
At least they can bring him back, though.
Well, we'll find out.
I did say that last episode.
That what?
Last time that Atticus is still in there and they're going to try and bring him back, or she might be able to bring him back. I had a feeling. That's why he stopped.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know what he's doing, sucking her age or.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to avoid spoilers. That you see that full force of that in a future season.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Okay.
It's something you don't. I'll just say you don't want that to happen.
It's bad.
Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. You ready?
Ready.
For the last episode.
Yeah.
Of this season.
engine has a splinter.
Amelia's building more train cars?
The train is never finished, kitten.
Do we have to go through the new car to get in there?
You will have to go through the new car, for this is where I bid you adieu.
Hey, Amelia! Loved your movie.
Get out! You've damaged the new car! You're at 0. You got your exit. What are you still doing on the train, you little monster?
I'm here to make a trade. I get Atticus back, and you get your tape. Where's that cannon?
You insensitive! How dare you force me to relive those memories?
Just returning the favor, lady.
If you don't take your exit now, I'll send it so far down the train you'll die of old age before you see it again.
I'm not leaving until Atticus is back to normal.
And I thought you were smart.
I'm going after the cannon. I need you to look for a way to stop the steward, or stop the train, or something.
End it all. Got it.
That's not what I... You can't just make whatever car you want.
Why not? I'm just trying to create a car with Ulrich in it. What if you could create a car, Tulip? One where your parents are still together.
But then they wouldn't be my real parents. They wouldn't be my real life. They weren't happy together.
I could make you a car where they are. I can make a car that's exactly how you want it to be. Just one big happy family.
You can't even make a car without any turtles in it!
Mum.
You foolish girl, this was never about you.
Well, you made it about me when you attacked my friends! Gotcha!
No parents. Who will you loot next?
Oopsie daisy.
No!
Oh, scratchy, scratchy.
Thank you. I was feeling rather exposed without it.
Hello. I'd like to introduce you to my mother.
Isn't she pretty? She's got a real heft to her.
1-1, you're the real conductor? You've just been trying to get back to the engine?
Yeah, it's a little weird, huh?
You ripped 1-1 out of the control panel!
He had all that power and he refused to make a car for me!
You can't keep trying to recreate your old life. You have to learn how to live in this one.
Don't you get it? I don't want a life without Ulrich. There's a hole in the universe where Ulrich used to be. Why won't the train just let me put him back?
I'm really sorry about your husband, Amelia. I don't know what it's like to lose someone you love. But I do know that neither of us can go back to the way things were. We have to adapt to the changes in our lives. It's the only way things can get better.
It doesn't matter. I'll be on the train forever. numbers don't just go down. They also go up.
You can still try to get your number to 0, no matter how many mistakes you've made.
What about getting rid of your exit car? There's no coming back from that.
Hello, Mum and I can fix that.
Tulip, your dad is here to pick you up for camp.
Coming! Hey, Dad.
Hey, you.
Have a great time. Call me when you get settled in.
I will.
I'll get her there safe.
Hey, you.
So, bud, you ready?
I'm ready for anything.
There's something I'm wondering if you noticed. I'm going to show you a little part of that again. Tell me if you notice anything peculiar. Okay, watch, click carefully.
I'll get her there safe.
She doesn't have a reflection.
There's no reflection.
So, bud.
She's like a
you
dead
ready?
person.
Or a vampire.
Vampire, that's right.
No, there's something more specific to that you hopefully will remember.
Yeah, no, I get it.
The reflections.
I was just joking about the vampire thing.
Yeah, but to me, that's significant that the reflection's gone because it shows that there's real world implications.
Right.
Yeah.
To the train.
So the train's not just a giant metaphor in her head. This is literally a thing that happened, and she literally no longer has a reflection.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. All
Got
right.
it.
Yeah. And okay, you know how before I said that every season is a new protagonist?
Yeah.
Who do you think might be the protagonist next season?
Either the mom or the dad.
Amelia.
Oh, yeah, Amelia. Please be Amelia. And then one of them has got to be Amelia. They can't just leave it.
I'm not going to tell you. That was hilarious.
Our show has a trend. Our show has a trend. It's Brian's deadpan face. Ask you a question. Deadpan face.
I'm not telling you.
Yeah. There's a lot of evil behind this mask. Oh. But you'll have to wait.
Here's my thing though. With like Amelia wanting to be stuck in her problems. As much as I agree that it's toxic and unhealthy, but like if she wants a train where she can just like lie to herself and be blissful, and that's
Well,
an
I don't
option,
think that was so much the issue as that she like stole the train.
Yeah, she stole
no, but she said she stole the train because one wouldn't make a car
for her. But it's counter to the purpose of the train to enable
the train
people.
is there to help you get through your problems.
I can get it. I'm just trying to say, as much as I agree that is the better way.
Yeah.
You know, like the better way is to push through and grow. But I just know for people in my life, if they're just stuck in blue pill and that's where they want to be, I'm like, okay.
Maybe you're an enabler, Amber. I don't know.
I'm an enabler. Like, I guess, like, unless I have a reason to feel invested, sometimes I feel like if blue pill is what's right for someone, then go blue pill it
I mean,
up.
I'm going to be honest.
Until they get sick of that ride, and then they're like, okay, I need to grow.
Well, in the Matrix speak, I would much rather take the blue pill. Like the one that lets you stay in the Matrix.
To me, it depends on the situation. I have a lot of blue pill situations.
But I mean, like, if you look at the world in the Matrix, you look at the world outside of the Matrix, it's horrible. It's a nightmare.
Right.
I'd rather just be in the Matrix.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I do understand if you're like, I feel like I could influence the situation. Then
Right.
sure, I'll take the red pill, do the sacrifices, do all the
like,
things.
but I'm not
But if
Neo.
it was like, but if it was like, I know that me jumping in isn't going to do any benefit for anybody.
Yeah.
Blue pill it up. And
And
so,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so that's why I don't think
Yeah,
it's
but you-
always, I don't
what
think
if
it's
you
always
don't-
bad for people to not be ready to face their stuff.
But what happens if you're not, like, what if you don't know unless you do it?
No.
It
You know,
was
you got to
like
at least try, but
Neo-
still.
Neo wasn't sure that he was the one. Morpheus thought he was.
Right.
But then even the Oracle told him he wasn't. It took Neo to believe he was.
True.
To become the one. So what happens, Brian, if
True.
you are the one and you
Okay,
blue
now
pill it?
here's the thing though. I think in this situation, I would be very, very tempted to just make my own car, right?
Would you?
And I might even actually do it, like on the train, like with Amelia making that car. I could see why that would be very, very tempting for a lot of people in a lot of situations. But I
Yeah.
think it would also be very immoral of the train to support that.
Enable it.
Yeah. So I can see why the train, I could see why one wouldn't do it for her, but I could also see why she would do it or why she would want to do it.
Here's my
The problem by overthrowing the train is she also screwed up all the other passengers because now they
Yeah.
don't have any guidance on what's going on, which is why Tulip didn't know what was going on, right?
Right. Right. And so, but here's my thing though, is that like,
Who was the oh, never mind, sorry.
is that if like, so to me, like making your own train, it's kind of like getting on a merry-go-round. You're not going to grow. You're not going to make any progress. You're just going to go round and round, not growing.
Right.
But like, I do feel like a lot of people, they might just need the merry-go-round to go around, and before that starts, the boredom of that starts to torture them, and that's the kick they need and the boost they need.
Well, and Amber,
want to push through.
that's legitimately the case where many people on this train may be there for many years before they decide they need to get
And
help.
sometimes I feel like, oh, and that's why to me, enabling, I'm not saying in all times, because I don't feel like enabling is necessarily always enabling. Sometimes it's just saying they're only ready for that right now. So let them ride that merry-go-round and like until they get bored, and then they'll have the light bulb moment where they're like, okay,
Yeah.
I think I'm
And
ready.
I think Amber, that's a good point. You've made a good argument.
Because
but-
I just think it's not always
Some
so bad.
people
You don't need to
aren't-
push people into facing their stuff.
You have
Like,
to try to
can
meet
let them
people
get
where
ready.
they are and see where they're ready to move to.
Absolutely. Because I
Yeah.
feel like giving people too much, if people aren't ready for the realness, it's not going to benefit them anyway.
But I think one
Then they could
probably
try and take
perceived
over
this
the
was
train and
not
wreck it for
gonna-
everybody else.
I think one could perceive this wasn't going to be helpful. You know, and that's why he didn't do it.
Maybe.
What? Telling
It is
telling him that he
interesting
was
that
the conductor?
one is like the wisest of the group. Like, I mean, he didn't seem it.
I don't think he's the wise.
I don't know if he's specifically
He's like
wise. He has
he's like the
access to all
keys
of
to
your
the
thoughts
ship.
and memories, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he has to be wise if he can run the train
Yeah.
in a way that's going to best benefit the people on the train.
Yeah, but is
He
running
has
the
to be
train?
wise.
Because he doesn't. He says, "Me and my mom can make a door." So it's like, I
Right.
think the train is the actual. Like,
True.
She's the sentient.
True, but I
And,
just
like-
mean he would have to be at least
Well, one
compatible
Well,
with
one-
the
one-
mom who's got to be that wise. If
Well,
she's doing a good job of running the train, she's got to be wise.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
One. I think is the key. He is literally the key, to the train. And then the train, and then for the train to run properly,
Mhm.
it needs one.
And that's a good point because the train was still working.
Yeah, it's still
when
functioning.
one wasn't in there. Like it was still functioning, doing its
But
job.
it's not working properly. Like
Yeah.
that's why you got
It was
like
corrupted.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the dance party car and things like that.
Yeah.
But see, the thing I don't understand though is like, so because I mean, she was on that train for quite a while. So how do they explain the passage of time?
They don't because it's a year late. I think she was gone for like 5 months or something. Like time seems to pass in the real world.
Yeah, but like, like she's just gone for
She
5
was
months.
probably a missing person for a while.
So her family didn't seem quite.
Yeah, but they jumped to a
7
year
months.
later. So if she was gone for 5 months, that jump cut still would have been 7 months after that.
Got it. Okay.
But as far as we can tell with what happens in other seasons, which we'll see in other seasons, the passage of time seems it happens, right? Like
Well, I wonder if that's why the dad was like, "I'll make sure she gets there safe,"
yeah.
instead of going missing for another 5 months or whatever.
Yeah.
I definitely think her last statement was good, like of the series, because the whole idea is like when you confront your problems, that's what builds your confidence and helps you believe that you can handle things.
Oh, something just occurred to me. I think it would have been easy to Because I was thinking, how would she explain to her parents where she was for all that time? But like, she literally has no reflection now. Mom and Dad, I know this is going to sound crazy, but you see how I have no reflection? Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Well, what if that's only a Tulip thing? Like only Tulip can't see her reflection.
Well, we
She's gonna
couldn't
have
see
to
it.
deal with that.
Yeah, but we're kind
Yeah,
of
but we're the-
Tulip, right?
No, we're a third-party observer.
Yeah,
Right,
but like I mean,
we've seen a lot more than her parents have.
yeah, exactly. We were on the train, so we know the
True.
events that
Okay.
happened.
Well, I won't say any further.
Okay, because it actually happens like that.
Well, I don't want to give any. I don't want to say too much. I have to stop
Okay.
here. I have to be careful what I talk about. We will learn more about the mirror world though in the future.
Oh.
But it's like a real world thing. I'll just say that.
Well, yeah, it has to be because the mirror knew about all the things she was doing.
Yeah.
Like her friends and her habits and all that kind of stuff. So she was there outside of the train.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure. Now here's the other thing too. I don't think that the writers would have bothered to put her with no reflection if it wasn't intended that she actually didn't have a reflection. Because it was a very deliberate placing of that mirror as they were walking out of the house. Right.
Yeah.
So as from a narrative standpoint, I think that would be the only reason they would do that.
Right.
Gaia.
Yeah.
I know it's deep.
Okay, so Steve, at the very beginning, after we watched the first episode, you said, I think 7 out of 10 for the show. Has that number gone up or down now that you've seen this entire arc?
Yeah, I would go to like an 8.
Okay.
Maybe a 9. Like it's good. It's good. I like how the episodes are kind of short.
Yeah.
And like kind of like to the point. Sometimes I wish they were longer. But then I'm like, you just watch more episodes.
Yeah, well, I think it forces the writers and the and everything to keep everything really clean.
Well, and that's the nice part. There isn't too much puff. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, look at us standing around doing literally nothing. It's like,
which can be fun sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's nice, just quick, get through a few episodes. Okay.
Yeah, I'd give it 8.5 maybe.
I was gonna say 8 myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the subjects, the topics. Sometimes I don't know. It's very like artsy and lots of metaphors, and not like I don't like that stuff, but sometimes it's like you can just say it.
You don't like metaphors. It's all good, Amber.
Well, no, I just mean
but
when there's just tons of metaphors all over the place.
Yeah, but I think the thing is a lot of it wasn't metaphors, and I think that's why the reflection at the end is so important, because it was saying it's not like Wizard of Oz where it was just all a dream. Like I think the point of that's why I think showing that reflection at the end is so important, is because it's like this wasn't just all a dream or something in her imagination.
Like
this was a real world event that happened and affected her, right?
And will have impacted her life, which I think could have created more trauma for her.
Yeah.
Like having to come back and say, this is where I was, this is what happened to me. You think that she might have more traumas.
If you were to get on this train, what do you think your issue would be that you would?
My trauma. Oh my gosh, too many. And you know what? My weird traumas, I like, don't even understand them at all. So I clearly have many signs and symptoms that I have trauma. And I really don't exactly know what they are from.
Well, we used to drag you behind the car when you were a baby. And we used to throw you in the bathtub with a toaster when you were a baby. And we used to throw you in the animals' pits in the zoo when you were a baby. We did a lot of stuff to you as a baby.
All of that is false, but it is true that they used to swing me, pull me back in the jumper.
My background's changed. Yeah,
and
the
hit
jolly
me
jumper. Yeah, oh,
against
Steve.
the wall.
Yeah. So when we were kids, we had a jolly jumper. You know what that is?
Yep.
It's like it suspends. I'll just explain in case somebody watching doesn't know. It's this thing you can put your like kid in, and it's like suspended from the ceiling. It's like a bungee cord with like a harness, and so they can bounce up and down. But what we used to like to do is pull our younger siblings back and kind of like boom. So they'd kind of go whoosh. And our goal. So when it was Janice and I first, we would try that with Crystal, but we weren't strong enough to get her to hit the wall, and not hard, just like bump the wall. But by the time Amber was born, Janice and I were strong enough to do it. But the one time we managed to do it, Mom walked upstairs just at the wrong time and caught us. But that could be the source of Amber's trauma.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't feel safe.
So your lesson would be learning to feel safe.
No, but even then, like, how do you do that? It's like,
I don't
I'm
know.
always like
That's the train's
subject
job.
to, huh?
That's the train's job to figure out how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so my trauma, I feel like I must have like fears around, I have fears around people who are very concerned with social proofing.
What's
So,
social
like,
proofing?
social proofing is when you're like, who are you? Who are all your friends? Who are you related to? Like all that stuff that people do. Like, how much money does your family come from? Like,
I've never had anybody care about any of that.
fair enough. But whenever I like sense it off someone, it like
they're just trying to figure out who you are and what your status is.
like they're just like they're the type of person that really cares about status. And
But maybe they just care about you as a person and they want to get to know more about you.
yeah, okay. But I'm just saying if it's just a vibe. So I'm not saying it's rational.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say any of this is rational.
Gotcha.
I'm just trying to say that whatever my trauma is, it seems to be related to like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Like people who are like, oh, if you hang out with XYZ, then I don't want to be affiliated with you. And to be honest, it's not so much that. It's like if it's coming from someone that can impact me or people I care about.
Right.
Because I like all types of people. And if people don't like that I'm friends with people, I'll probably reject whoever is like that. You know what I mean? Like if someone, yeah, like if I want to be friends with someone that everyone doesn't think is cool, but I think they're cool, and then I feel like that person's going to judge me for being friends with this type of person or these people. It only bugs me if I feel like it's going to impact me or someone I care about in a negative way.
Right.
But yeah, for whatever reason, I have irrational, weird fears.
I've grown up in a lot of the same places as you, and I don't remember that ever really being an issue.
Which is fair. But again, it's like, but it's kind of like the whole, like, nature nurture, right? Because it's like the divorce impacted us differently.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So it's like there's just some like this is my trauma that
even
like
the age difference. Like there's a 6-year age difference. So you even though we were living in the same town, our social circumstances were very different, probably.
Well, like I don't know if it had to do with that so much because I don't recall feeling that so much growing up. But like I think my best guess is that Dad used to sing me to bed every night. And a lot of his songs would be how rejected he felt for being poor.
Right.
And so like, not only Dad's story, but Mom has a crazy backstory and thinking about people being like rejecting her and being hard on her while she was growing up. Like, I just have so much like
secondhand trauma kind of.
Yeah. So but it's because ever since I was like 3 years old though, like it was while I was going to bed and it was like ever since I can remember, like, and because I always thought like Dad's great. Like I always really liked Dad and I really like Mom. And just the idea of people making them feel rejected and small over these things that were outside of their control. Just, I have this thing that if someone is rejectful of someone who's different or poor or someone they don't understand, is a bit of a monster.
Yeah.
And then
I will vouch for you that I think you are genuinely that way and not just because I think there's a lot of people that say they care about other people like that and maybe don't. I'm just vouching for you that I think genuinely.
But then at the same time, it's like, it's a weird, funny thing though, because like the girl on the train, like I can like intellectually, I can say, but what's their story?
Yeah.
Right. So like, I can't, like in my head, I that's why to me, it's so weird when this stuff shows up because it feels so irrational. It feels so out of alignment with my thoughts. My thoughts aren't sitting there thinking that person's a monster.
Right.
But, but I do have, but like emotionally, I feel threatened and my back goes up, and then I feel like there's like this weird power game that seems to show up a lot. And yeah, because my head is like, well, but what's their story? Why does that matter so much to them? Why is that such a big deal to them if someone is friends with someone who's not seen as, you know, as a high status situation? And I don't know, like as though they come from, you know what I'm saying? When people, when people like when people really care about social classes and all that stuff.
Right.
And because to me, that looks like a weakness for someone to be really concerned with that stuff. And then I think, well, what's the reason that they have that weakness?
Yeah. Because nobody's perfect.
Right, exactly. And so that's what, and then I can end up being really hard on myself.
Oh, Steve might be perfect.
Steve's close to perfect. But I can end up being hard on myself for feeling the way I do towards that person. And then I'm like, Amber, don't be hard on that person. They have their own story and yada, yada, yada. But for whatever reason, I have like blockages around that stuff.
You know what's interesting on your comment here is I had somebody tell me the other day that I don't really have Schadenfreude. Do you know what that is?
I feel
it's like a German word we don't really have a word for in English, but it's kind of like a little bit of joy or satisfaction you get out of seeing the suffering in other people.
Oh,
I think it's like, I think that's what drives a lot of like tabloids or celebrity gossip. It's like, oh, look who that rich celebrity just got divorced or had his life ruined, and people kind of get a kind of a satisfaction over the rich and powerful bad things happening to them. So Schadenfreude is like kind of that, yeah, good guy got.
You know what's nuts?
But we don't have that in our family, really. I don't think to a large degree. Yeah.
We don't. And to me, that's why when I feel it and I sense it, like to me, it really kind of like blinds me, like it side blinds me, because it's not something I'm used to.
Yeah.
Like I'm not used to feeling like that whole weird jealousy, let's sabotage someone who's doing well.
Yeah, I don't think like I can't think of a person in our family that I think, I mean, there might be a couple here and there instances,
like moments, yeah.
But there's nobody that's really a part of their personality, I think.
Right. And so that's why when I come up against it in like other, the rest of the world, because some people really do struggle with that.
Yeah.
It's something I have a really hard time understanding, predicting. It can surprise me when I come across it. And I won't even predict that, like, oh, if I do this, if I start doing well, then this person's gonna. If anything, I feel like I wish that there was more trauma and plot lines around that subject, because to be honest, as an adult, I feel like that's probably one of the bigger problems that I can come up against, and I wonder why there's not more conversation around it.
That's what we're doing here, Amber.
No, but I mean, even in the show, they're not really talking about the problem of people wanting to sabotage someone who's doing well.
They might.
Or people's issues. Oh, maybe. No.
Maybe
that would be cool if they do. That'd be cool if they do, because I feel like it should be in more.
And even if it doesn't, Amber, we can make our own show.
Yeah, true.
You can put it in. Oh, I won't say anything. I don't know how much.
Because I'm surprised how often it does come up.
Yeah.
In life.
Well, and I think, like I say, I think that's what drives a lot of kind of the seedy, like things like paparazzi, salacious articles, a lot of like the, clickbaity titles you see on the internet. And I think it's just a lot driven because people are so excited to see somebody else doing better than that, who they think is doing better than them, suffering. Yeah.
Totally. It's so true.
Yeah. Not cool.
It's weird. But like, what's at the root of that? Why are people feeling so threatened,
Steve,
by other people's success?
You're our Schadenfreude expert. Can you explain?
I am. Oh,
I don't know if I've seen Steve get jealous either.
I'm not saying you have Schadenfreude. I'm just saying you're technically our expert because we don't know the answer.
What's that saying? It's like, man, how do they say it? It's like
crabs in the bucket.
No, it's like you live or you die young enough to be a hero, or live long enough to become the villain or something.
Villain, yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that, right? It's just like, I think that's what I think people just like to. I don't know, like.
I have an idea. Sorry, go ahead. But I had an idea.
That was like a light bulb moment.
Yeah, but I don't want to interrupt your sentence.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's just like you said, it's like people just like to see people that are doing well get taken down a peg, right? It's like I know people, and it's like nothing ever. How do I word this? It's like things always happen to them. It's never their fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to see somebody go out of that norm, break out of that bubble or square or whatever, and actually actively do something to propel you forward past that point where it's just like, oh, I'm broke 90% of the time, I'm working Monday to Friday. It like almost angers people in a way. I think some people, not everybody, but that's why you get a lot.
This is my light bulb. This is my light bulb on why people might think this way.
Right.
Because I think in our minds, we like to think that we're great, right? And we're the standard of everyone thinks they're like in the top 10% of smart people.
Standard of perfection.
But even though 90% of people are wrong about being part of the top 10%, right?
Right.
So we all like to think we're geniuses. We all like to think our opinions, and there's exceptions, obviously, but I think this is a very common thread. And then when your life doesn't go the way you want, it's not your fault. It's like, oh, circumstances are so tough. And so I think it's easy to become jealous when somebody else succeeds. You're not feeling like, oh, that guy's so smart, he's totally deserves. And sometimes you do, but often you're not thinking that guy's so smart, and worked hard, and he managed to, good for him. You're thinking like, oh, if I was in his situation, I could have done that too, right? You're not thinking, oh, he's more talented than I am. That's why he was able to do it. And so I think when people are brought down a peg, it's like, yeah, I knew it wasn't better than I am, right? Like,
yeah,
I think it's kind of like a way of like trying to elevate yourself compared to others.
Absolutely, and I agree that that's what people are doing. My thing is that, like, I feel like it is clearly coming from a place of brokenness in them.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like if you see someone succeed, you're either jealous or inspired.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like if someone's succeeding and you're like, oh wow, look what he got, I want to figure out how he did it.
Yeah.
So then
And sometimes
I can
you
do it too.
That. Yeah. Yeah.
Then I can do it too. And like, because my thing is that I actually do believe, I do think that everyone is genius in their own way. So like the whole, like when people say, hey, I'm better than 90% of the people, I do believe that most people are generally better than 90% of everyone at something.
Yes, but what I mean though is in general sense, most people assume that their own morality and intelligence is very high.
No, but what I mean is like all the different types of, if
Yeah.
you take all the different types of intelligence into consideration, and I feel like that's maybe like why there's such like an issue of emptiness there, is because I feel like people do have this blanket idea of what intelligent means.
Yeah, and
so
they don't
then
they don't actually see where their value is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like if someone's getting ahead and then they're jealous of that and they think, how is that person smarter than me? It's like that person is just more aware of who they are. They're more aware of like, well, and anyway, so I feel like it comes from a place of brokenness when people choose to be jealous over inspired.
Yeah.
But I have a theory around this, and I could be totally wrong, but this is my theory. I think that when people don't care about other people, if you're okay being a jerk to someone, if you're okay treating someone badly and not caring about someone and being disrespectful of other people, I think it's easier to not care about and respect yourself. And then that's when you would lean more to being jealous than being inspired.
Yeah.
So my whole theory is that you need self-respect and self-love to progress, and that if you don't love and respect and that how well you love and respect yourself is based on how well you love and respect other people.
That's a very good point. I think it might even be the inverse though. I think the more you genuinely have a good self-image, I think you'll also look more positively at other people.
Yeah, I do think they feed each other.
Yeah, they probably feed each other. Yeah.
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 So like, it's like if you think about it, like if someone's like, if you hit someone on the way to work,
yeah,
you feel devastated, you feel bad. But like if you hit someone and you found out that that person was about to go bomb a hospital,
Yeah.
you'd probably feel less bad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like if you believe that about yourself, that, hey, I deserve to be treated like crap, I deserve all these things because I treat other people like crap, then you're going to not believe that you deserve what other people do, you know, like what other people are getting. And then people want to peg those people down and bring those.
Yeah. Well, I'm miserable. You should be miserable too.
Yeah. So that's my theory around why. And like I said, I think a lot of this has to do with the definition that we have of intelligence, the view that people have of intelligence.
Yes,
because
you're right.
We have this big like global message that there's intelligent people and there's dumb people. And then everyone's like, well, I must be in the intelligent group. And then if they feel like they're not, then all of a sudden their self-image starts to implode. And I'm thinking, well, you probably are smarter
this is the funny thing though, is I think, because they have done research on this, and there are people who definitely think that they're stupid, and that's a big problem. But I think the more common problem people have is overestimate. They actually call it the Dunning-Kruger effect. But although we're all affected by it, I saw one of the researchers in an interview. So what the Dunning-Kruger effect is, people tend to when the people don't know a subject really well, they're more likely to overestimate how much they know, right?
Right.
Whereas somebody who knows it very well knows exactly what they know and what they don't know. Oh yeah, I guess that's the Dunning-Kruger. It's better. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know enough about the subject to understand how much they don't know about it. But somebody who's studied it for a long time realizes that there's a lot more that they need to know. So they better engaging.
It's like Einstein says, the more he learns, the more he realizes.
Yeah. And so Dunning-Kruger, but I was watching one of the guys, and so people will often use Dunning-Kruger to kind of paint people as idiots. Like that guy's an idiot because he thinks he's so smart, but clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. But the Dunning, I think it was Dunning, I saw in an interview, says we all succumb to that at some point. Like there's always some faucet or some time in your life where you're in a situation where you think you understand what you're doing better.
More than you do.
Yeah.
Here's my thing is that I actually do believe that that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think of the two, because first off, the chances of being bang on, I think is actually, I don't think that's really likely. I think that's everyone's going to.
Nobody. Well, that's not. It's not meant to be like I know. Nobody's going to say I know 75% about television.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I know. I'm just saying that it's like people are likely to lean one way than the other.
Yeah.
And I actually do think that leaning to believing you're more capable is a better position to be in than believing that you're less capable. So I don't think that that's a bad thing necessarily.
Well, I think it depends on the situation.
Totally, because it also reminds me of I think it was Jumanji, and The Rock had like a really great character. He was like stuck in this it's like this old, do you remember?
The second one?
Yeah, the second one. And his character was so funny because he would be like just overly confidently running into
but let me
solve
give
all
you
the
this.
problems.
Let me give you this though. Would you rather have a brain surgeon operating on your brain
Yeah.
who is super confident but doesn't really know what he's doing, but thinks he does and can handle it without a problem? Or would you rather have a brain surgeon who's a little
insecure,
but and will seek help?
What he's doing.
Like, okay, I'm not really sure about this. Let me contact an expert, right?
Absolutely. And so it does, to me, it does entirely depend on how important the role you're taking on is. You know, like if it's a brain surgeon versus someone, you know, making.
There was a famous. I wish if I'd known we were going to talk about this, I would have looked it up. But there was like a in World War I or something. There was like a general or some military commander, and he broke people down into 4 groups. And you may or may not agree with the groups, but I think his overall point is kind of funny. And he says, okay, so you got people who are both intelligent and hardworking. There are people who are intelligent and lazy. There are people who are stupid and hardworking, and there are people who are stupid and lazy. And who do you think he considered the most dangerous group?
I would say, to me, it's all about heart. Okay, so
no. I mean, in a practical, in a wartime, you're thinking about like lives are on the line. Which person would he consider the most dangerous?
Stupid and hardworking.
Yeah. And the reason is he says like he's like intelligent people who are both intelligent and hardworking. They make great field commanders because they're sharp. They're on the spot. They're on the ball. Go. Let's get things done. He says intelligent, lazy people, he said, are actually really good, like not field commanders, but like office commanders, because they'll take the time to think through everything. Right. Like, so for planning and stuff like that, they're really good.
Mhm.
And he says even the lazy, stupid ones, you
Yeah,
can
they're not
find a
doing
use
anything.
for those people. Yeah, you can
Right.
put them to use. But he
Right.
said the stupid, hardworking ones were the hardest and the most dangerous to deal with because they'll work really, really hard at things that will end up like being destructive.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
True.
But anyway, you got the right answer. So you're a genius.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Anyways, I should
I mean,
probably.
because in theory, if they had bad hearts, the intelligent, hardworking ones sound terrible.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
actually I even saw a Dilbert comic based on this, and I've experienced this in my own work in the past. In that there was a Dilbert comic based on this guy. He knew he wasn't very good at his job, and so he'd stay late hours to work harder to get more done. They tied him up because they're like, yeah, but we spent all day fixing your mistakes from last night, right? And I've definitely worked with people like that, where it's like they're really hardworking and well-intentioned, but they're making more work for me because everything they're doing is terrible, right? So, and the heart is there, but it's kind of like another thing I've heard somebody say is like, you know, if I get shot, I don't want somebody who doesn't know how to deal with a bullet wound, no matter how good their intentions are. They're not the one I want to stop and help me, right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
are you a doctor? No, then I don't. Your heart's not helping.
Right. And that's why I feel like it's important to try and help people understand what roles they should want to take on.
Yeah. It's kind of knowing where you're at. I think humility is a big part of that. Like, okay, I see somebody get shot. I want to help. I don't know how to get a bullet out safely, but I can certainly call 911.
Right. Right. See, yeah, exactly. It's like with us, it's like we know like what roles I should kind of take the lead in, and we know what roles Steve should really take the lead. You know, like go yes,
I'm gonna
Bryant.
tell the world
Bryant.
that if you're ever at their house, one of the roles for Steve is cooking.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
that's me.
Yeah.
But if you want to eat healthy, it's them.
Delicious, healthy, delicious,
delicious and healthy.
Turducken salad, turducken. I wasn't there for the turducken. I was very sad that I missed it. I heard it was great.
We'll do it again. You're coming.
I'm
back
coming this
summer, right?
summer. Yeah, when Susan's out. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll do one.
Whoa,
But yeah, no, there's.
I like that. Did you hear that? Maybe
Sorry?
we'll do one. Amber was like, maybe we will do one. Like,
It is me giving up Steve for a day.
It's Amber's
my contribution.
generosity
yeah.
to free Steve up to make a turducken.
Yeah.
I will lend him to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
What were you gonna say, Brian?
Oh, I was wondering, should we invite Janice for if we want to do season 2?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Okay, Steve, you've seen the Bryant Amber dynamic. You've also seen the Bryant Janice Amber dynamic. Now that's lively.
Well, things get longer.
Yeah.
The more reels you involve, the longer
I
it
don't
goes.
think you'll need me if it's the three of you.
I want to hear what your trauma would be if you were on the train.
If I was on the train, I feel like it would be very similar to Tulips. Like
Really?
just not confronting and dealing with your problems.
Do you think it would be like the divorce?
Well, I think maybe in part I could do a very similar episode, but I think it's the same thing. Like, I think you could do it on the divorce, and I think that'd be very effective.
You could, yeah.
Because I think that's probably the major point in my life where I never did really deal with it.
I think the turning point for you would be that you were more of an adult.
I was more of an adult.
So, I mean, like, but you did say how it, like, kind of affected your views on relationships.
It probably singularly affected my life more than any other single event in a negative way, right? So that, even though I was an adult. So I could easily do an episode on the train of me and that. But I don't know. What do you think, Amber? If you were in charge of the train, what would you make Bryant learn?
No, No, I would ask you. I don't know. I'm really not one to like analyze people and think what's wrong with them.
Yeah, neither am I. I don't know what I'd put you in for either. I would just do it as a laugh. Here, Amber, get out of this train.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's like a labyrinth.
Yeah.
What am I learning from this, Bryant? It's how to survive.
Yeah.
How to not die.
Yeah.
What would you put me in the train
here's
for?
the thing is that like, well, still on Brian.
Okay.
So like, is that I think that being an adult almost makes it a bit harder. Like when you're young, you haven't really like your beliefs aren't as solid and aren't as
Yeah,
stuff. So like to take
maybe.
a belief that's like really solid and
But you also
crack
have
it.
fewer mechanisms to deal with it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
When you're
because
an
as you're an
adult,
adult, you can process it better. You're like, yeah, my parents fight all the time.
Right.
Yeah, my memories of these events aren't all happy and dolphins are doing backflips or building pyramids or whatever. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you will have the understanding to know that it's like, yeah, my parents' relationship was crap. Right? I
Right,
look
and
back on it.
I think you could definitely skip all the selfish stuff.
Well, yeah,
Like
like
you could skip the whole like, how is this impacting me? And go
Yeah.
straight to like, how are they doing?
Yeah, and I think that's where you see that's where it wouldn't work for you. That wouldn't be a good train visit for you because I think you kind of got that down a lot better. But I think that would be the tulips lessons would be good for me, and maybe that's why the show resonated with me a bit, maybe more than it did for you.
Actually, no, the part that like when she would like sometimes you have to solve your problems through feeling through it instead of thinking through it.
Yeah,
I like really hit home. I was like,
Yeah.
that is so true. And something that I really don't do naturally. So it is a skill I need to like work on and figure out.
Now the next season is somebody dealing with an issue that I don't relate to as much, but I think a lot of people do. But it's not something that really ever affected me. But I'm not going to tell you what it is.
There it is.
Okay, so now I want to know about you. So Steve's issue on the train. What do you think it is, Steve? You have no trauma, nothing. You have to.
How to be less awesome.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say too.
It's a heavy
I
cross
agree.
that he bears.
Yeah, it's just
Bryant.
Sorry.
How to
I mean,
remove
It's a heavy
dead weight
cross.
The
from
heavy
my
burden to
life.
bear. It would be a train about Steve, can you do this in a way that's less magnanimous? I need you to solve this puzzle in a way that's not quite so clever.
I honestly, I don't know. When you guys were talking, I kind of zoned out for a bit. And
Yeah. Well, that's our solution right now. Listening. Learning to listen.
No, but I could still hear and I could still engage in the conversation. But so I'm actually good at multitasking.
Okay.
When it comes to that stuff, that just comes from being a cook and all that stuff. But like, yeah, no, I struggle. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, my parents' relationship, like, it wasn't perfect, but it was good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And really, I look at their relationship and kind of, you know, I take things that I like and things I don't like and try to weasel those out and, you know, focus on the things that are better instead of worse and all that kind of stuff, right? But I don't know, like, I mean, I've had people pass away on me. That sucks, but it's like, I don't know, man, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's very much Amelia's situation, right?
yeah, no, it's true, but I mean, it was never that close. It wasn't like
Right.
I didn't have well, you know, touch wood. Maybe I won't even say it, but like, I don't have Amelia's problem. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, hope not.
yeah, just kidding.
Very
I
dire
don't think
for
Bryant
Amber.
heard what I said. I was like, man, my thing on the train would be learning to remove some dead weight
Out of his life.
out of my life. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, like I've never really had anybody like that close. I mean, I've had some, you know, troubles when I was a kid, I guess, but like it wasn't anything that, like, I've already passed that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've already feel like I've been on my train and I've gotten off that train a long time ago, 10 times stronger, better, faster, smarter. They rebuilt me. They had the tech. I'm new. Bionic now. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I struggle to think like what would I'd actually like to see what the train would have for me.
Yeah. And maybe you're right. Maybe you would just be like, oh, I'm straight at 0. See you later.
Yeah, like, you start at 2 or something like.
You know who we should be having
better.
this
Like,
conversation with is my mom. Because mom's she would know what we need to work on the most, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think so. I don't think I think it's maybe not as evident because she's not critical. Like she doesn't go around pointing our flaws. Like she's not a critical person, but she's an observant person. Like she knows what our weaknesses are. Yeah.
She is. Well, here's my thing though, is I feel like maybe you, because I feel like you're probably more open with mom.
Right.
And I feel like I'm decently open with her now, but I've spent most of my life not really talking about stuff.
That's your train visit.
Opening up to your mom.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. I think actually Amber has quite a bit. Train. She would have quite a few cars to unpack.
There'd be a lot of tracks and
and really, I mean, like you all do in a way. Like, I mean, you have your sister to unpack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then right around that time, Amber had like one of her best friends passed away, and then the birth of our son. It's like there was so much like.
That's
and
right.
I watched it.
I do have a ton
I watched
of
it happening
moments
to
in
her,
life,
and I couldn't believe like what I could see. I've never seen a person just go through all that, like all of a sudden, and she just kind of went into robot mode.
I think a lot of us in our family have been in robot mode at some point.
Yeah, but that's weird to me. I'm super emotional. I could cry at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but here's the
like,
thing: it's
I've
not
never
about
seen
not being
anybody-
emotional. It's almost like you're.
Yeah,
it's like you're emotional.
we were definitely emotional. It's just you have to get numb to it at a certain point.
Yeah.
Well, and
it's
that
like
was,
you can't
it wasn't
function.
even just numb. It was like somebody flipped the switch, and I just watched her light go out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
was
and it
gone
took
for, like, a
years
year at least,
for me to like, come on, like jump starting the. You know what I mean? Clear. Yeah. You know, there was a lot of like, just. I don't want to say like I'm not like a professional. I don't know what I was doing, but it was just like.
But was that hard on you?
Well, yeah, but I mean.
So because that could create, because like with me and mom,
I think vicariously it can even be just as difficult, maybe more difficult, because you know something's wrong and you can't do anything.
Right.
No, but well, see,
Actually, I think it was
and
actually
yes, you're right. It can be hard, but like for me, it wasn't. You know what I mean? Because I knew, yeah, I've got broad shoulders. Atlas hold up the world, man. No, but like for me, like I could see the problem. It was like there wasn't like a I wonder what's going on. It was like, ugh. And I just knew I had to give her time and some space, but be there. And like you just learn how to juggle the emotion, right?
Yeah.
And then after a while, you know, she got to a point where I just was like, you got to snap out of this at some point. You have to.
You did say that.
No, well, no, I think I did at one point. I finally was like, we got to do something. And then you just kind of start pulling yourself out of it. That's how I felt.
That's not how
That's how I remember it. Cause I was like, I remember coming home one day being like stressed to the max because I had worked all day. Then I have to come home and raise Isaac and cook dinner and try to tidy up the house a bit. And you know, Amber was, you know, at least she was like letting me sleep out, like she would take care of Isaac and stuff like that. And it was just, but it got to a point where I remember it was like I was losing it. Like I was like, oh man, like this is a lot, right? And you know, Amber, like, but you don't want to be too hard. Like I don't think I was like,
no, you were good.
Yeah, you know,
I think Steve was really,
Steve
was really good. I think it kind of helped that I was pretty easily identifying. Like I could tell what was going on with me. I could tell that my emotions had shut off. I remember the moment. I remember feeling like when my emotions shut off.
I think I remember seeing it.
It was in the hospital with Brandy.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there she goes. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. And so I could at least tell that, and I can at least communicate that and be like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Like I'm a zombie right now. And then there was like, so what, like Steve, what he was just talking about, that was for like a good 3 or 4 months that like he'd come home because I was seriously useless. I was seriously useless on the couch, and Steve would come home and do everything. And Steve was actually like super, super good through the whole thing. I always felt bad because I knew that I must have felt heavy. I must have felt like be a chore for him to be around, and I always felt bad about it.
Yeah, but when you feel that from a person, you know what I mean? Like, and even then, it's like if I became a paraplegic or something, all of a sudden, it's like, is that the time when you leave somebody? You know what I mean? It's like when they're at their worst. It's like that's when they need you.
And I feel something very comfortable as Amber would not abandon you in that situation.
No, absolutely. So, and that was the same thing. It was like I witnessed all of the horribleness that came out of all these situations, right at the middle of like a very joyous moment. Like our son was born, right? Like it's like, wow, this happy little bundle who is a ton of work and is a whole new level of stress.
Throws your life like
completely off kilter.
Direction.
Combined with all these things that had just happened to her, like it happened to me as well too, but it had like a fraction of an effect on me, right? And like Amber said, you know, like you have to feel your emotional out, you know, like you feel
Solve
things
your
out
problems.
instead of solving your problems. It's like that was me. I just bleh for a little while, then I'm like, all right, back in the game. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, well, how did that, you know? So and then it's just, you just after a while you just go into like the zone, right? You're just like, I know what I need to do, and I just do it until I don't need to do it anymore.
No, I think Steve was he was really good. You were really good through all of it. And I don't feel like he ever did say snap out of it. I think he just kind of let me work the turkey through.
Felt like I wanted to say it. Maybe I did.
I don't think you did. And if I did, I ignored it. Because I don't know. I felt like I always was trying to deal with it. It's never like I was like, I don't have problems. I don't need to fix it.
Exactly.
Like I was definitely treating it like something I have to figure out and get through. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of moments in life that I would say are trauma.
It just felt like time. It felt like I'm like, okay, she just needs time.
Yeah.
Time to process it, time to mull it over, work it through, cry, do whatever, right?
Well, because how it happened, and this is like when I felt like my emotions just like turned off. It felt like it was because Isaac was a huge responsibility that was taking up a ton of time, energy, and effort and everything. And I couldn't be a mess. I couldn't be dealing with it. I was way too busy trying to take care of him. And that's why like I was just numb for a year. And then it wasn't until he became easier that I like had my breakdown, because I felt like my body was finally like, now you can deal with it, because now you don't have this huge responsibility that's taking all of your attention right now.
Yeah. So it was like a year. So
it was a year or so after that I like had my big crackdown. And then
But she was different for that whole year.
Yeah, but for that year I was numb. I was just numb. I was a zombie. I was like, well, I wasn't sleeping because Isaac wasn't sleeping, and I couldn't feel anything. I was just a zombie. So, and have I dealt with that? I don't know or think so. I think that I still have a lot of
train cars to go through.
This is a lot of train. This is
like on that stuff. Like when I think of like Crystal and Brandy, it's almost like a movie. Like I know it actually happened, but in like emotionally, it's a movie. It's a movie that I haven't really
watched yet,
dealt with. Yeah, I'll have some moments where I'm like, okay, I think I'm dealing with that a bit, but overall, like, have I completely dealt with it?
Now, I have kind of an embarrassing confession. Is I don't know if I realized you went through that.
Oh, that's fine. I don't.
It's not really.
I don't know why you'd be embarrassed. You were like miles and miles away.
It wasn't something we were like, Bryant, you're here. By the way, let's unload.
Yeah.
Sit down, Bryant. We're gonna recap you on everything.
I have to admit, you're not on my unload.
I'm not your
list,
go-to listener. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as like I'm in trauma, I need to unload. No, I don't.
Yeah, it's not a call Bryant situation.
No.
Well, and the problem was with your sister, we were so much closer to it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Not like, I mean, you guys are all emotionally attached, but I mean, like, we were physically, like, we were only
Living in a similar.
yeah, we were in the same area, so it was
Right.
like, what, and so that kind of was like,
Yeah. My experience with family, because there's a lot of other family stuff too from, but for
Oh,
some
yeah.
reason, I feel like I've always been separated from it. Like even growing up.
Separated or detached? Like, is that your?
But
is
not,
that
I
how
don't
you
even mean
handle
just
things?
emotionally. It's just like when I wasn't there, it seems to be when anything would happen.
Hmm.
Like it's almost
Maybe
always like the divorce, I lived away from home. With
Mhm.
Crystal, I wasn't, I mean, I think I was in Calgary, but I wasn't around.
Mhm.
I think the closest was with Grandpa Carson, is where I was involved because I talked to him right the day before.
Hmm.
But yeah, it just felt like a lot of things happened when I was gone or not at home. So I'd always come back and hear about it.
Hmm. Yeah,
maybe
interesting.
you're the glue, right?
Well, I don't think so. I think it was just I was out a lot. I-
Yeah.
I guess, eh?
Interesting. Yeah, no, because yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, you guys have.
A lot of stories.
I mean, you got things you could. I mean, there's.
Yeah, I think all the other stuff I
Comparatively
knew.
speaking.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think I just grew up with the impression like stuff like that was kind of normal.
That what stuff is normal?
Like lots of people's parents grew up in like a log cabin in the woods.
Oh, really? You thought that mom's story was normal?
Well, I mean, because it's the only stories I really knew. Plus, I think I grew up more in Rosemary, which I think is more people like that, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
You think so?
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Anyway, that's definitely not my impression.
Yeah.
My impression.
But I mean, definitely Rosemary, there was a lot of people like survived by hunting and that sort of thing, though.
Was there?
Yeah, like everybody, a lot of hunters.
I don't know the Rosemary's like story so much. So like.
Oh, survived is the word,
But like, I just know that some people have the impression. I definitely don't know this firsthand at all. But some people can come to this area, like Southern Alberta, and feel like people have had not rosy without problems upbringings, but not like mom. Like mom was a feral child.
Yeah, well, even dad, even for that area, was quite like, this is an area where people are not supremely known to be well off.
Right.
And he was like the lowest well off. Right.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not calling you poor, by the way. I'm just saying. And I think it's
True.
different now because a lot of people do now live there who have more money because they work at Lethbridge and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it's farmer town, really,
Yeah, it's not actually, I guess there is supposed to be a lot of money around here. It's just people don't spend their money.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of very frugal money because people made it through the war and all the things, and so people are just very frugal.
Yeah.
Have a lot of money, have a lot of kids.
I find that area, well, Rosemary at least. Rosemary and Strathmore were really different. Because Rosemary, I feel like there was a lot more of the judgy sort of stuff that you were just talking about.
Right, yeah.
And I think Emily and August maybe both ran into more of that than I did because I moved when I was like 12. But Strathmore was actually more, at least in my age group, people were very open. You know what I mean? Like there weren't
That's how I felt as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's everyone's experience who is like from Strathmore, but my Strathmore experience was just that like people didn't seem.
Yeah, most people were pretty chill. I mean, obviously there were some exceptions, but I think in general people were quite chill. Yeah.
In general,
let you do your thing,
Live your life, yeah.
Yeah.
Be who you are. Live your life. I don't care about how rich you are, what your status is.
In fact, I mean, because there were a couple of people that were kind of like that, and that wasn't popular. Like, if you were boasting how expensive your stuff was, I think most people just
something weird
wouldn't care. Like, that's a stupid thing to say. Who cares how much that table cost? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about your tails.
Well, I thought of that specifically because we had a new kid one time move into Cars Land when we were in Cars Land, and one of my friends had gone to his house, and that was kind of his thing. He was like, "Oh, that thing
Talks about
so
money."
much," and he just thought it was, and my friend thought it was this most ridiculous thing. He's like, "Nobody cares," but he must have come from a place where people did care.
Where people care, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you watch TV and you see reality shows from certain areas. That is the conversation. So he's probably not even necessarily bragging. He's just like, this is what people talk about. They talk about
the funny thing is, though, I think most people that we would have associated with were the complete opposite, where you would boast how cheap you got something. Like, it would be like, you spent $300 for that? You got ripped off, man. I saw it at a garage sale for $20. It was twice as big.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we were going for people that loved being thrifty.
Yeah,
I think still too, but I think that's more trendy now too, though, actually, in general. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
Macklemore helped a lot, probably.
Well, yeah. Like, not just him, but like.
But I think that, yeah, the general attitude of that time, it was people fighting back against the concept that you have to wear expensive clothes. It's like, I think his song is indicative of a mindset that people had where it's like, hey, I can be poor and still rock it,
Or just spend my money on better things.
Yeah, be more frugal. Yeah.
Because it's not even about being poor. It's just about like.
It's not being frugal, but I've read a lot of comments.
I care about is my
I think I've read a lot of comments from people online, though, specifically about that song, and that's what they said. They said I was the poor kid in my class, and it's because of that where I felt like I could go to a prom without an expensive dress or suit or whatever and feel good about it, right? Because it kind of became cool in some circles to be thrifty, which was nice contribution.
Well, and even, I don't know, for me, when I find like a good chunk of very wealthy people, consider it smart. Yeah. Like, oh, you don't spend your money.
Well, yeah, to be honest, and that's the other thing, though, like a lot of people criticize the rich, but most of the rich people I've known are very nice, kind, generous people. They just hard work. They're smart with their money,
I feel just as protective of rich people as I do of poor people.
Yeah,
because I feel like a lot of people are unnecessarily hard on rich people.
Yeah.
And I just think you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think people think they should be able to take it. Well, you already have everything. You should be able to take a little bit of criticism, but it's like they're still people. They still have feelings. Money didn't buy them stronger feelings.
Right, but it's not even they should be able to take it, but it's like they can't relate to their situation to know what they're even saying. Like when they sit around saying that rich people should pay so much more taxes, blah, 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 blah. Like they can't relate to what it's like to be in their shoes.
Yeah.
And the fact that they think that their opinion is worth as much as they think their opinion is worth is strange to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, walk in their shoes and then form an opinion.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Well, especially if it's the type of rich person who has worked very hard to get where they are. It's really tough. Like, it's one thing to say they should pay higher taxes, but it's another thing if you're the person who has worked really, really, really hard to get what you have, and then people just keep wanting to take more and more and more of it away from you. It really, it doesn't feel good.
Well, it's not just that, but it's like, but they're employing how many people? And then if they have to pay so much taxes, how many people do they have to lay off? Like they're just not looking at the whole picture. And like, anyway, I just feel like they can't relate to them. They don't really understand what that person is trying to juggle. They don't know what that rich person's trying to juggle. They don't understand. And to me, like where I feel really protective of rich people, not all, I'm sure some of them are totally insane, but like a lot of them, I feel like they have to push, like you don't get rich from being lazy. They have to push themselves. They have to, do all the hard things. And they have to do that often with good hearts, trying to help people, even though those people are throwing rocks at them.
Yeah.
So they're trying to help the people throwing rocks at them, and they're pushing themselves to do it. And
now,
that's why
and
I
I think
feel really protective of them.
Playing devil's advocate, though, I think our experience with rich people has been a lot of good ones. There are a lot of terrible rich people as well, but there are also a lot of terrible poor people.
Absolutely. And so to me, it's not correlated. Like the whole like being a good person and being whatever you're like how much money you have isn't correlated. It's like there are broke people that give me the EBGBs. There are rich people that give me the EBGBs. There are broke people that I think are like the best people I've ever met, and there are rich people who I think are the best people I've ever met. So
Yeah.
I just don't think it's correlated whether or not you're a good person to how much money someone.
Yeah, and I can see how both extremes can make you either a better or worse person, because I think there are people who seem just fine until they get rich and they do start to think they're better than everyone else. I think that happens. But I also think there's people who are poor who, instead of using that as an opportunity to understand other poor people, just become very selfish and start taking what they can from anybody else, taking advantage of others, you know.
Yeah.
Like you see that a lot in like a lot of these overseas scammers, right? Like they're in genuinely poverty. A lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them are generally probably quite poor. And so they're just seeing it as like, you know, of course I'm willing to take advantage of these people for their money, right? So
Yeah.
that sort of mindset is more likely to, but yeah, so there might be people who are just nice, kind when everything's going well and they're rich and they don't have to worry about food and shelter, they're wonderful. But as soon as they get poor, they're like, who can I kill to get a meal around here?
To
Right?
get ahead.
So I think both of those, you don't know which person you are probably though until you've been in both
Right.
shoes.
Right. Well, they always say that money just makes you more of who you are.
Maybe, yeah, it might. Because
Like, it
there
will just
definitely
kind of-
there definitely are a lot of rich people who are very generous. And not even all of them for show. Like some people probably do it to look good. But
Yeah.
I knew a guy in Calgary and he worked for a house, like a company that built houses.
Yeah.
And he said that they would, like every year they would build houses for like poor people, the poor, like, you know, HUD or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
housing development stuff. And he said they would do it for free and they would never advertise it. He said they would never tell the newspaper, they would never call the cable company or whatever, because they were they really wanted to make a point they weren't doing it for the publicity.
Right. Yeah.
But nobody knows they did it because they didn't advertise it. But there are people like that out there, right?
So if a tree falls in the forest,
yeah, but
does
the
it
point
make a
being that
sound?
those people exist that you don't see. It's just when you do see it, you're seeing the people that are either trying to make a show of it, you know.
Yeah. I'm indifferent about all that. I feel like the emotional payoff for themselves is probably better when you don't tell people.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that like for themselves, their morale boost would be better if they don't tell people. I do, but also at the same time, if you do it and it inspires people, then that's okay too. Like suppose I was a billionaire and I was, you know, and the world saw that I donated a ton of money. And it inspired other people to donate money, you know, or if it made if it made people think, hey, rich people don't care, and then you're like, no, look, rich people do care. So to me, I feel like it can be good or bad either way.
Well,
Just depends
on
what
your point,
intention is.
yeah, to that point, do you know who Glenn Beck is?
No.
So in the US, he's kind of like, he's a TV presenter, but he's like right wing, right? Like he's conservative. And there was this, I saw a show, they were interviewing this guy. So he was like he was like a film director from Hollywood. Can't remember what his name was, but he was on the left side. And he had met Glenn Beck and you know, they disagreed on everything politically, but they decided they started going into a project together to go build an orphanage in Africa. And so this one director guy, he said like, a lot of his left-wing leaning friends were very, very critical of him for teaming up with somebody from the right to go build an orphanage. And so, and they said, you know, he's only doing it to look good. But then the guy was like, well, it doesn't matter why he's doing it. They're still getting an orphanage, right?
Like
even if you're right, and he doesn't really genuinely, sincerely want to build an orphanage, he's still building an orphanage.
There's going to be an orphanage afterwards for the orphans.
Yeah. So there is that. But anyways, I do kind of have to go now, guys. And I know Steve needs to go to work tomorrow.
I do. I've got to go to bed.
But if you're interested, next time we can start on season 2, or if you like, we could try something else.
Like what?
Well, the season 2 it is then. Because I didn't.
Well, now I want to know what the next, because we got all those. I'm not telling you.
Yeah, because now you need to find out who the new protagonist is going to be.
Yeah.
This has a very Steven Universe feel to it.
It does. Did you ever watch that show?
No, but it might be the same creators for all I know. I don't know.
I bet you would really like it.
Maybe.
Yeah, you would. You actually really would.
I'll give it a try.
There's a lot of
Seems like a
episodes.
Bryant show, actually.
Okay.
It's a very Bryant.
I'll check it out. But now I have to go because I'm very, very hungry.
Okay.
Like a bear.
And also I want this to record.
Fair enough.
So I'm gonna say goodbye to everyone out there. Anybody who's watching. All one of you.
All of them.